Hi, me again. I had somebody send me a lot of questions, and we were able to narrow them down to three that I'm willing to answer. Uh, no question is taboo, but some questions are just fucking stupid. Um, but I've been able to isolate three questions amid a big blast email from someone who, of course, wants to remain anonymous. I've got no problem with that. First question is, why is intelligent design not taught in science class? Why can't there be, number two is, why can't there be two scientific theories on the same subject? And three is, why is science denying lessons from the Bible where God imparts valuable information to us scientifically? Okay, this is actually going to break down into, I don't think a lot of those words mean what you think they do. Um, Theory is kind of a tricky word. It means different things in different contexts. If I wake up in the middle of the night and I have two ideas that have rubbed together the right way and it makes sense to me, that's a philosophical theory. And that's where you get into the no one's right. Or if I develop an idea where science has no opinion or has no set ideal yet, then if I get those same ideas and they make sense to me, that doesn't make it a scientific theory. It makes it a philosophical theory at best. Um, but there are rules to science. I can't walk in to a Church of Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints and start preaching Hinduism because it's probably not going to fit in with their dichotomy there. Opinions and faith are what runs religion. Opinions and faith are excluded completely from science. So, why is intelligent design not taught in science class? I'm assuming you mean in public schools, because in a private school you can teach any damn thing you want. Um, but with that, I'm going to actually have to go with first the legal answer. Dover, Pennsylvania was able to determine that that intelligent design is creationism, flat out. And that was demonstrably shown in court to a disinterested party who technically was leaning toward independent design at the beginning. An impartial judge was able to say, no, that's creationism in a nutshell. Why can't there be two scientific theories on the same subject? Again, we have to go to the heart of the word scientific theory. And there can be. There can be about unknowns. But the trick is, to be a scientific theory, you at the very least have to have all the components of your explanation be rational and understandable. So I can't disprove evaporation by saying, look, there's less water in this glass. A Yeti must have come in and drank it. Of course he would. Richmond's a long way from Tibet. So he drank it and left and la-di-da. Well, the thing is the first thing science is going to say is show me the Yeti. So if you say an intelligent designer, that may spruce it up a bit because you think you're using scientific terminology, but it doesn't make it a theory. A theory is not an opinion. It's not a guess. To be a scientific theory, you have to have gone through a process. You have to meet certain criteria. And for two results to meet the same criteria is really hard. Really hard. It does occasionally happen, specifically in cases of unknown, but it doesn't happen for very long because scientists like to pick at stuff. We will figure it out. We will break it down. We will figure out a way to just knock it into pieces. Um, and the last one, why does science deny lessons from the Bible where God imparts valuable information to us in terms of science? And you specifically referenced Jonah. Yeah. Okay. Um, the lesson that you say that I'm supposed to get from Jonah is that God says there are mountains at the bottom of the sea. Right. Okay. Jonah is a story about a large, well, fish or whale. I'll give you either one. In either case, you can't find me a species of fish or whale that can swallow someone along with enough air so that they can live for 3 days in its stomach without being digested or dying of asphyxiation. Um, the largest whale I can think of is a blue whale, and its throat is so small that if it swallowed a grapefruit whole, it would choke to death. Um, Here's the thing. I don't think you understand what science is. Based on what you're saying, I know for a fact you don't know where science is. And the way this is going, you obviously don't know how science works. So here's the thing. The point of science is to be cross-cultural. It's to get the correct answer through trial and error, through observation, through experiment, and through information sharing. That's why writing is such a big deal to science, because that makes our information cumulative. Now, the first step in scientific method that you're not doing with intelligent design is the ability to say, I'm wrong. That's an important step. Because if I come up and I say 1 plus 3 equals 5, and someone else comes up and says, no, 1 plus 3 equals 4, we're not both right. Now, I can sit here and make up a situation where that would be right. Um, I mean, if someone was trying to convince me that 1 plus 1 equals 10, I'd go, well, in binary, you'd be right. Now, here's the problem. What you're used to dealing with is theology. Okay, now in theology, feelings are important. God speaking to you is important. All these things are important. In science, they're bupkis. Okay, the entire focus of religion, of almost every religion I've ever studied, is you're special and you are loved. Science has no love for you. That's why every scientist has to go through an ethics class to make sure that we're not all heartless bastards. It doesn't always work, but there are ethics classes involved in that. Now, intelligent design is an idea, but one of the key components is an unknown. Now, until you define that unknown, you can't make a scientific hypothesis. It's that simple. You haven't even started, and you want to push aside evolution. And I refuse to use the phrase Darwinism because Darwinism sounds like a belief. It's not a belief. If you think that science is trying to preserve a dogmatic ideal, you have never met a scientist in your life. Because I can tell you right now, if I, for instance, found sea life on the moon, I'm not even going to go into why you thought that was possible. If I found seashells on the moon, you would never be able to shut me up about it. I would tell everyone would have to explain that shit to me. And they'd have to come up with a freak of nature scenario at the very least. If I found multiple instances of it, that's my career. I win. I am now the most interesting person in all of science. That's how science works. If you get an anomaly, scientists descend on it like a horde of locusts going, what can we learn from that? And we take it apart and dig through it and try to figure it out. People have wanted to do this with intelligent design. I would love to debate intelligent design on a scientific level. You have no science. You have this feels right. This makes sense. That's not science. If you want to see how making sense and being true scientifically have nothing in common, study quantum physics. Because when you take gravity out of the equation by something being that small, everything's different. Newtonian shit doesn't matter. Gravity's not a constant in the universe. You can come up with a situation or a scenario. Your idea of a fix on that is to constantly patchwork an idea with holes in it with more explanations that are unproven. Um, and the trick to it is you can't do that in science. You can do that in church. And the main reason that I, on a philosophical basis, don't have a problem with the existence of religion is because science is cold. Science doesn't care if you believe in it or not. When you say that evolution hasn't been proven, to whose satisfaction? It's been proven through geology, or let me rephrase that. It's been supported and verified through geology, genetics, microbiology, microchemistry. In some cases, it goes hand in hand with certain discoveries within astronomy, including the age of the Earth. I mean, Darwin lived in a time where he could not comprehend a cell, and yet cells back him up. He had no idea what DNA was, and DNA backs up what he was saying. Okay, that either means he was right, or a lot of people are falsifying a lot of things, and that in and of itself is a problem because science has a zero tolerance policy. If you lie, no one trusts you ever again. That's flat out. If you kick dirt on something, if you take credit for something that's not yours, everything you will ever do is marred by that. There's no comeback from that. I have seen completely valid double blind studies that carry notations on it saying we're waiting on someone else to do it because this person has a questionable ethical standard because of this. We are harsh. And the reason we're harsh is because the only point in science is this the correct answer? We don't care if you're Jew, Muslim, or whatever. You have to bring that to the table. Now, what you're doing is being willfully ignorant. For you to say that we've never seen a transitional state fossil, yes, we have. For you to say there's no single event of speciation found in modern times, yes, there is. There are websites devoted to collecting these examples. We've seen it in plants, salamanders, certain types of feline. It's there and it exists. But the thing is if you put your hands over your ears and sing la 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 la, you're not going to hear it. So the biggest thing is I could spoon feed you all of this information, but because you won't agree to the base tenet of if you're wrong, you have to admit it and then help look for the right answer. You can't get past that. You're going to find another way for it to maybe be plausible. Plausible isn't science. I'm sorry. So why is intelligent design not taught in science class? Because it's not science and it's illegal to do so in the United States. Um, why can't there be two scientific theories on the same subject? There can be, but once you get into accepted theories, that's when something is either validated or thrown out. Without mercy, by the way. And why does science deny lessons from the Bible? Because it's parable, because it's all about making you feel good. It's not specific and it's not duplicable. And quite honestly, you're reading a lot into it for that. For instance, in the one that you're doing, God doesn't even say there are mountains at the bottom of the sea. Jonah does. I don't worship Jonah, so fuck off. Um, Basically, I think it's totally fair if you want to teach your religious view as a philosophy. But if you teach your religious view in school, I get to teach evolution in your church. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up there because that's as far as I can go without getting really rude. Um, Google it. Google any question that you ask me, and I'm sure that there's going to be some scientific sites that come up and answer any question you have. Whether it's going to be to your satisfaction, sorry. I've played that game with Holocaust deniers. I'm not going to do it with science deniers, okay? All right. I have other more valid questions to get to, so go shop at exoticenvy.com and, you know, get some adult toys if you're over 18. They are our sponsor, and the more business they do, the better we do. So try to be good to each other, and I will talk to everybody later.